Miss Curti here, and today we're going to be talking about Miss Curti's top 10, and this one is all about fractions. So these are 10 things that we need to keep in mind going through our entire fraction units. So number 10 on our list is a fraction is a number. A fraction is a number, and it represents part of a whole. We are used to talking about whole numbers, starting at 1 all the way up to 1,000. And now what we're going to be talking about are numbers that are part of a whole. So if we were looking at a number line, the numbers that we're going to be dealing with in this unit are the numbers that fall mostly between 0 and 1. We will go a little bit above 1, but for the most part we're talking about fractions that are just pieces of whole numbers. So we'll be looking at 0 to 1. And you've actually been using fractions your whole life. Anytime you ask someone if you can have half of something, you are using fractions. Anytime our birthday comes around, when we turn 8, and then we celebrate 8 and a half, and then we get excited about 9, and then 9 and a half, those are all fractions that we've been using so far in life. Alright, number 9. There are two numbers to a fraction, or two digits. The numerator and the denominator. So that's similar to thinking about place value. Where a digit is changes what it means or its value. So our number on top is our numerator, and our number on the bottom is our denominator. And again, it's just like place value. That 2 on top tells us something very specific, and that 3 on the bottom tells us something very specific. When we change those numbers, we're changing the meaning of that number. Just like if I had the number 243, 2 hundreds, 4 tens, and 3 ones, that would be very different than if I changed up the place value and did 4 hundreds, 3 tens, and 2 ones. Same digits, but when I move them around, it changes the meaning. And that is the same here for numerator and denominator. But instead of having tens, ones, and hundreds, we now call the top number our numerator and our bottom number our denominator. Alright, so let's zoom in a little bit on what those numbers tell us. The numerator is, of course, above the fraction bar, and that's what we call this line, a fraction bar, and it tells us how many pieces are being described, how many pieces of our whole. So in this case, we're talking about 2 pieces. And the number 7 down here, our denominator is that number below the fraction bar, and it tells us the total number of pieces in one whole. So we have 3 pieces making up that whole. So let's draw what 2/3 would look like based on the meaning of our numerator and our denominator. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle, and that's going to represent my one whole. That's one whole piece. So now I want to break up my piece into 3 pieces. And then I have 1, 2, 3 whole pieces. So that is what my denominator represents. And then 2 pieces are being described, or 2 pieces are being discussed. And I'm going to shade in those 2 pieces. So there's what 2/3 would look like. Alright, let's move down to number 6. Fraction pieces must always be the same size. Whenever we're talking about fractions, we have to have equal size pieces. If I were to draw a fraction bar and say that I cut this in half because I have 2 pieces, that of course would not be true. We must have equal pieces. Alright, and the next thing we want to talk about, 4 and 5 go together. And I'm going to zoom in on these 2 fraction bars. When we look at what our sixths would look like and our eighths, we can tell that each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 have been broken up into 6 pieces. Down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. 6 pieces and 8 pieces. And you're going to notice that the more pieces your whole has been broken up into, the smaller and smaller the size of each piece. So up here, the larger our denominator, the smaller the size of each piece in the whole. Down here our denominator is 8, and up here we have a 6, and you notice that the size of the sixths are larger than the 8s. And down here, just the opposite. The smaller the denominator, the larger the size of each piece. And that is something that we want to keep in mind throughout this unit. The larger the denominator, the smaller the size pieces we're going to have. Let's look at one more example. If we were going to break something up into hundredths and fifths, many kids will look at this and say, well, hundreds are a really big number, so those pieces must be larger. But we always want to remember what our denominator tells us because of where it shows up in our fraction. The denominator tells us how many pieces our whole has been broken up into. So imagine cutting a pizza into 100 teeny tiny pieces, or that same pizza into 5. 1/5 is going to be much larger than our 1/100ths. So again, the larger the denominator, the smaller the size of each piece. Alright, and that brings us down to number 3. A unit fraction describes one piece of the whole, and the numerator is always 1. And there are endless unit fractions we can make. Up here I drew 2, 1/100, 1/5, 1/2, 1/3, 1/7, 1/8. Those are all unit fractions, as long as that numerator, that number on top, is 1. Okay, and number 2, when the numerator and the denominator are the same number, that fraction represents a whole. So take a look over here at this picture. We have our whole that's been broken up into 4 equal pieces, and if we were to shade in all 4 of those pieces, our fractions would be 4/4 or 1 whole. And finally, number 1, fractions are fun. And I hope that by the end of this topic, you agree that once we start working with these numbers, they don't seem so big and scary anymore. Alright, thanks for watching Ms. Curti's Top 10 on fractions. Please keep this handy because these are concepts that we want to keep in mind and we'll be reviewing them throughout the topic. Have a great day, and I'll see you here for the next video. Bye.